It's the Eagle Community Television Forum with your host, Gary Shorman.
Hi everyone, I'm Gary Shorman, and this is a forum on Eagle Community Television. It's good to have you watching along as we get to talk basketball, and we get to talk to the winningest coach in Fort Hays basketball history, and that's Mark Johnson. Mark, good to have you on our program.
Thanks for having me, Gary. I'm always glad to be here.
You know, the season is just getting underway. We'll have a couple games coming up here in a couple of weeks. But tell me a little bit about your team, because you have a new year, and when you go into a new year, there's always some exciting things that go along with that from the coach's chair.
Oh yeah, you know, we have some good players coming back. Obviously, Craig Nicholson, who had the injury last year, we're really hoping he can be back and be the same player he was, because he was such a great player. And that, obviously, if you can have one of the better players in the league, you're going to have a good season. Dom Samik up front he was an all-conference player a year ago. He's a 6'8" player. He'll be back. Jake Stoppel from Wilson, Kansas, will be his third year probably as a starter for us. That has a lot of experience. So we have three guys that have started in a lot of games at Fort Hays. Have a few others coming back that gained some experience, but you know, we're really having a new influx of talent, we think, and a lot of those are young guys. We have a lot of freshmen coming in that we're very, very excited about and think they're going to have bright futures, and even in the current, they're going to be able to do some things to help us this year.
Let's talk a little bit about Craig, because you know he suffered a broken bone injury last year, but he's one of these guys that is a spark plug.
Oh yeah,
he gets in and things happen.
No question, he makes everybody around him better. Not only can he, you know, do some things and put up statistical numbers himself, but he puts every other player on the floor in a better position, lets them make the game easier for them, get a higher quality shot. So he's a key really to any ability for us to have the kind of year we want to have. Okay,
you look at other players. You mentioned you have some new ones coming in, and of those new ones, where are they from, and how good are they?
You know, I think Trey O'Neal from Scott City is a guard. He was the 3A Player of the Year last year. We're really excited about him. He's a 6'2" guard. We really think he's going to be a very good player. And we've had some pretty good ones from Scott City, but we think he has the potential to maybe be the best one of all. You know, so we're excited about him. Brady Worth from here in town. Hayes, 6'6", 6'7", just getting better by the day. You know, getting used to the physicalness, getting in the weight room, and we expect, you know, another guy that's going to have a tremendous career. We're hoping at Fort Hays. Kyler Kinnaman from McPherson is a player. Again, I think he was 4A Player of the Year in high school. Won 2 state titles, undefeated, I believe, his last 2 seasons. A winner point guard. We have another Croatian that's a young guy. He'll be a freshman, but Amir Sabic from Croatia. He actually played on the under-19 Croatian team, world team, and he's a 6'2" guard, very talented athletic player, expecting good things from him. Rob Davis is a guy played at Pratt Community College, another guard that we really think he can come in and be an older player that can come in and right away and be able to produce for us. And we have others guys in there, but we're really excited about what we have coming back and the young guys we have coming in.
Well, you mentioned Brady Worth, because there's a core. You have 3 players coming from the region here: McPherson, Scott City, Hayes, and unless I missed one. And anyway, there are a lot of local fans that will go out just to see those kids play. And somebody like Brady Worth, who they've seen play in high school, a talented young player, it's great to have them on the team. Was that tough getting those players here?
Oh, I think in recruiting it makes it easier when they're in your area to be able to get them. You know, that's anytime there's players in our area that we feel like can help us have a winning team. We're going to jump right over that. I mean, like I said, the advantage you have over other programs is that they're in your area. You know, the disadvantage we have when we have to go to other places is, you know, they're not in our area. So we're very excited when we have that talent around here that we can get and come in here and contribute. And you know, again, we want to have as many of those guys as we can possibly get.
Well, so you have those, and then you go a long ways away to Croatia and over in that area, because this is your second or third player from Croatia?
This will be the third one from Croatia. We also have a young man, Stefan Krasmanovic, from Serbia.
Gerard will have a fun time working with that.
He'll be busy this year with those names. So, but he's from Serbia. We have Amir from Croatia. Dom, who's returning, is from Croatia. Thomas Gabrick, who played for us the previous 2 years, was from Croatia. So,
what's that connection?
Well, really, you know, we started off with Tom, and really, you got to give Tom a lot of this. You know, Tom came here, we kind of met a guy, and it kind of helped us get Tom. And I think no matter where you recruit, if your players have a positive experience, they're going to tell the others about it. And I think Tom just really enjoyed his time here. Thought Hayes and the community of Hayes and the program and the university were special. He had a great time. He enjoyed it, and he passed that along to those people that help kids in Croatia get out to U.S. colleges. And so I think his stamp of approval and energetic speak of Fort Hays and Hayes itself made it happen. And for us, again, Hayes is just as close to their hometown for the most part as any other university in the U.S. You know what I mean? When we start recruiting other states, like I said, our disadvantage is we're not as close to their hometown and to their family and their parents. And when we go overseas, that's kind of not a factor. I mean, wherever they go is going to be long distance.
Well, you look at the game itself, and then you look at your opponents. The MIAA, how's that looking?
Oh, it's always challenging. I think if you ask any coach,
it's an easy conference, isn't it?
Any coach I've had to tell you. I mean, it's top to bottom the best league in the country. I think the depth of our league is what makes it just so unbelievable. You look at last year, Northwest Missouri wins the league. I believe they got beat at home by maybe the 13th place team. Central Missouri finishes second. They get beat at home by the last place team. I mean, it's just the depth that doesn't happen in a lot of conferences. So it's just a challenge every night. But again, we welcome that challenge, and that's what you want to be against good competition, and we definitely are.
You start out with a couple of exhibition games at Manhattan and again at Kansas at Allen Fieldhouse. What's it like to coach at Allen Fieldhouse?
Well, I always say it's great for our players. You know what I mean? It's great for our fans to be able to come to that and see Fort Hays in the uniform of Fort Hays playing KU. At times it's tough as a coach, just because even though you're playing University of Kansas and there's lottery picks there and future draft choices and great players, you still want to do well, and you don't want to get beat too bad, and that's hard against them.
It's hard not to watch that intro up there when you look at the history of Kansas basketball. Yep. Well, we talked about you being the winningest coach as of last year, the winningest coach in Fort Hays history, but your first game of coaching at Fort Hays was a memorable game. Tell us about that.
Yeah, my first game I ever coached, I was at Allen Fieldhouse against KU. That was
your
very first game I was ever head coach of anything, and that's when Roy Williams was a coach. They had Drew Gooden, Nick Collison, Kirk Heinrich, three pretty good NBA players, and kind of got thrown to the fire. That's for sure. But it's always a fun experience when we can go there. We get to do it every 2 years, and we're thankful that KU has made that commitment to playing the Division II schools in the state of Kansas. It's a neat play. You talk to all the other D2 coaches, they're like, boy, I wish a school, the university in our state would do the same.
Well, I know I've been there a couple of those games where you sat on the side with a little contingent of Fort Hays fans that are surrounded by 16,000 KU fans, and it's fun to be a part of that. And what do you tell your players?
Well,
have fun.
Exactly. You got to enjoy it. I mean, you can't. I mean, it's a once in a lifetime experience for them. They don't get, our players don't get that opportunity to play in those environments very often. So you want to make sure it's fun. You want to enjoy it, but at the same time, you're trying to get better. And your main thing is compete till the end. I mean, there's going to be a lot of adversity in that game. It's going to be stick together and keep playing hard no matter what that scoreboard says.
And what about the rest of the season? How's that shaping up when you start heading down the season here?
Well, we got a great opening non-conference tournament here. Opening up November 14th and 15th. It gets really good competition.
Be a good time for people to come out.
Yeah, it'd be great to be able to see. I think it's a big weekend for Fort Hays. We have volleyball's home that weekend. Fort Hays football plays their last game of the year against Central Missouri, and then we'll have two basketball tournament games also. So it's a big weekend, and we'd love to have people come out and see us early.
Boy, that'll be a lot of fun. So if you don't have your basketball tickets, you want to get them now. And we're going to take a break and come back, and I'm going to ask Coach about the keys for this season, what he expects the keys to the game be for Fort Hays State basketball. Back with more with Coach Johnson after this.
It's a beautiful day in our super high-speed internet great customer service neighborhood. Like you, this is where we live. In fact, our company is employee-owned, so it's our goal to improve the quality of life for everyone in our community by delivering faster, more reliable internet, clearer, more feature-laden phone service, quality TV channels, all with the level of customer service you'd expect from people who are your neighbors. Eagle Communications, our community connected.
Welcome back to the second half of our forum program with Coach Mark Johnson of Fort Hays State University. Our forum is brought to you by Hays Med. If you have any questions, comments, ideas, suggestions, like to play on Coach's team, you can send me a note at gary.shorman@eaglecom.net. You can also find me on ECTV Forum on Facebook. Check us out there. Click Be Our Friend. We'd like to talk to you via Facebook as well. Again, our guest is the most winningest coach in Fort Hays State basketball history. It's Coach Mark Johnson. Coach, we went into the break saying, what are going to be the keys to the Fort Hays State season this year? What are those?
Well, I think first and foremost is the health of Craig Nicholson. If he's healthy and the player he was before, I think that's going to be a big factor for us. And he's working really hard, and it's not only a physical injury. Anytime you come back from something like that, it's a mental part of it. He's got to get there and get used to being out on the floor. That's a big key for us. I think how well our young players can develop and have the confidence. Anytime you go to that next level, there's going to be maybe not play with the same confidence you did your senior year in high school. Now you're back to being a freshman again like you were in high school. And we're going to need a couple of those guys to step up and play fairly big roles for us. So how quickly they can gain their confidence and adjust to this level. And then, we're not the biggest team overall from up front at times. We're not real big in the backcourt. We don't have a ton of 6'4" guards. We're more 6'1" and 6'2". Can we make sure that size differential isn't an overwhelming factor? But I think if we can gel early and get these guys experience and some confidence, I think we have enough returning talent who can kind of carry the load offensively early in the season till these other guys kind of get around and get comfortable. I think good things will happen. So I think Craig's health and really how well our young people gain their confidence and get comfortable at the collegiate level. And if they can do that soon, I think we'll be fine.
Now, as a coach, you see kids that work in the off season in practice. Some of them work hard, some of them may not work quite as hard. What have you seen in the off season? You're transitioning now, getting to preseason practice and all that, but what have you seen in the off season from these kids?
Yeah, I think they're all hard workers. I mean, you can tell, I think, nowadays you don't really come into preseason to get into shape. It's kind of like the NFL. They don't use that training. It used to be come to camp and we work to get in shape. I think kids today understand it's a 12-month deal and they're working out so that when they come into preseason, they're pretty much in pretty good shape. Maybe got to knock a few cobwebs off, get a little bit more used to getting in a stance and things like that. But overall, I think we got a hard-working group. I think they want to do well, and usually that means good things will happen when you have those type of guys.
Will you see the same sort of offense on the floor?
I think so, a little bit. I think we're probably going to try to throw it inside a little more than we did last year. I think our returning front line with Dom and Jake and Drew Kite and some of those guys that have been here, we need to be able to get it inside, try to get to the foul line a little bit more, maybe take some pressure off some of our young perimeter players.
Very good. Coach, good luck on the season. Look forward to some of the games. In fact, you have a couple coming up that'll be fun, including that tournament weekend. Sounds like a great weekend to be a Fort Hays State Tiger. It
is. Again, appreciate you having me on, and we're excited about the season and would love to have as many people out there as we can get.
Coach Johnson, the winningest coach in Fort Hays State basketball history. The season will be underway shortly. Hope you can get out to the game. Look forward to seeing you there. Our program is brought to you by Hays Med and by Eagle Communication, our community connected.
Hays Med is your first and best choice for healthcare. They're the only facility providing tertiary level services in this region. With more than 70 physicians and 26 specialties ranging from heart, orthopedic, spine care, cancer, obstetrics and gynecology, wound care, rehabilitation and surgery, including the Da Vinci robotic surgery, Hays Med is your comprehensive health provider for people throughout Western Kansas. Hays Med, helping people be healthy.